The prior authorization queue in an HIV PrEP practice never shrinks on its own. It grows every day, sitting between your patients and their medication while contributing to the exhaustion of your clinical team. AMA data shows the scale of the burden. Physicians now complete an average of 39 prior authorization requests per week per physician. Managing that volume requires 13 hours of staff time every week. That is nearly 2 full business days spent on paperwork rather than clinical delivery. The outcome of this effort is often a rejection. 31% of initial prior authorization requests are denied. When practices appeal those rejections, 81.7% are eventually overturned and approved. When 4 out of 5 denials are eventually reversed, the initial delay is rarely about clinical necessity. Stalls are caused by formatting errors, missing lab values, or reviewers lacking specialty knowledge. General prior authorization statistics actually understate the challenge for HIV clinics. PrEP authorizations involve specific complexities not typically encountered. The workflow branches across 3 distinct formulations: Truvada, Descovy, and Apretude. Payers require specific clinical data for each: negative HIV status, baseline EGFR, and confirmed hepatitis B status. Step therapy preferences also rotate, often requiring a patient to fail an oral formulation before covering an injectable. Even with the Affordable Care Act's Grade A mandate for preventative services, securing coverage depends on navigating specific payer rules and formats. Administrative friction varies significantly by region. In the South, 37% of plans require prior authorization for PrEP, compared to 2% in the Northeast. Securing a PrEP authorization requires navigating shifting policy and regional requirements. It is a specialized task, demanding current understanding of the payer market. To manage the workload, many practices hire an internal, dedicated authorization coordinator. A dedicated in-house coordinator typically requires a salary between $55,000 and $84,000. That figure does not include the additional costs of benefits, taxes, or management time. Relying on a single staff member creates operational vulnerability. Healthcare support roles experience high turnover, and every departure leaves the practice with weeks of training time, while patient approvals stall. In-house staff also lose hours to the phone problem. Payer status lines are slow, and many plans still require manual faxes or inconsistent portal entries that keep staff on hold. While an internal model feels familiar, it often results in a fragile operation with high fixed costs that cannot easily scale as the patient queue grows. An alternative is to move the entire workflow to a specialized outsourced team that manages the queue externally. This model changes the economics of the practice. Staffingly's outsourced service begins at $399 per role per week. This specialized service is provided by AAPC-credentialed experts. They are already trained on PrEP class indications, J-code billing, and the documentation requirements for Truvada, Descovy, and Apretude. Integration is seamless. The team works directly inside your existing EMR, like Epic, Athena, or eClinicalWorks, via an encrypted VPN with a complete audit trail. The setup meets high-level security standards, including SOC 2 Type 2 audits and HIPAA business associate agreements, ensuring data stays protected from day one. Specialized outsourcing stabilizes administrative costs. It ensures the overhead of managing authorizations scales predictably alongside your patient volume. The most significant drain on a physician's time is the peer-to-peer review call following a denial. According to the AMA, only 16% of physicians believe the health plan representative they speak with has the appropriate qualifications to make the clinical call. Most prescribers enter these calls while reviewing the patient's chart in real time. They spend their clinical hours explaining basic guidelines to reviewers who may not have an infectious disease background. Outsourcing addresses this by briefing the prescriber 30 minutes before the call. The team provides chart highlights, the prior therapy timeline, and the specific CDC guideline citations needed to secure the approval. Speed is now essential for these appeals. United Healthcare has compressed the peer-to-peer window to just 14 days, making same-day triage and preparation necessary to avoid losing the case. Shifting the preparation to a specialized team reduces a frustrating clinical debate into a decisive conversation that consistently converts denials into approvals. Achieving a 4-hour submission turnaround requires a workflow that combines human expertise with artificial intelligence. The system is built to automate repetitive administrative tasks, allowing the specialists to focus their time on clinical reasoning and payer strategy. At the base, an AI reasoning agent extracts data points like EGFR and drafts the necessity narrative. This automation handles 80%. The technology handles repetition, while specialists provide the judgment needed to keep approvals on track. For practices managing heavy volumes of Truvada, Descovy, or Apretude, the choice comes down to how you want to staff your administration. Implementation is rapid. An outsourced team can be integrated and live within your existing EMR in 5 to 10 days. You can verify the performance of this model through a 2-week risk-free pilot phase, scoped to your practice's specific payer mix and volume. The result is a more predictable workflow. Standard authorizations are submitted in 4 hours, while expedited requests go out in 60 minutes. Visit staffingly.com/demo to book a discovery call and scope your pilot program. You can move away from paying clinical wages for administrative tasks. Transition to a system engineered specifically for high first-pass approval rates and faster patient access.